Broadcasting live from Youngville, North Carolina and Ontario, Canada. This is Got Mead Live, a weekly show where Vicky Rowe and AJ Airmans bring you the mead news, meadery info, and mead-making discussions from all over, talking with mead makers, mead owners, industry mavens, and influencers. This is Got Mead Live, a weekly podcast about mead and the people who love it and where the mead world is going. And now here are your hosts, Got Mead owner Vicky Rowe and mead and wine maker AJ Airmans.
From the den of the puppies of the apocalypse in northern Michigan, the Bunny Pen in Ottawa, Canada, and the palatial retirement estate in Minnesota, it's Got Mead Live. Welcome to the show. Tonight we're talking with Adrian Beebe at Cloud City Mead at 10,000 feet in Leadville, Colorado. This should be a really interesting show. I want to say thanks to all the folks who renewed or signed up for a Got Mead Patron membership the past couple of weeks. You are appreciated. That's how we keep the lights on for Got Mead Live and pay the things they force us to give them money for. So you are appreciated. And if you haven't already signed up for one and you're wondering what the hell is that, patron membership is $30 a year, about 50 cents a week. Get you access to the Got Mead Live patron boards and on the forum and the patron Facebook group. And there are some pretty darn good recipes and whatnot in there, and a lot of very talented people that have good information. If you want to get on the forum, or if you want to sign up for a patron membership, you can go to gotmead.com/community for the forum. You can sign up for free there, and if you choose to upgrade, you can upgrade from that point or at any time afterwards if you're already a member. If you want to catch us online now, listening live, you can find us on YouTube, Twitch, X, and Facebook on the Got Mead page. And chat is part of our podcast, so comment from wherever you're watching. We'll see it. And if you are wanting to get to us, okay, on Twitch, we are twitch.tv/meadwench. On YouTube, we are youtube.com/@gotmead. On X, we are x.com/realgotmead, and Facebook is facebook.com/gotmead. And we also, if you want to listen later, we're on all the popular podcast platforms, although I hear Spotify is falling behind, so I will have to fix that. If you want to get on our social, we are facebook.com/gotmead, as noted. That's our main page, and facebook.com/groups/gotmead is our main group. Just answer the 3 quick questions that we use to keep bots and spammers out, and we'll get you right on in there. And of course, on X, we are at @realgotmead. Feel free to tweet us during the show. I usually have it up if you want, and if you want to say something or ask us a question or whatnot. And then if you want to send us questions, comments, people you think we need to have on the show, etc., you can go to gotmead.com, put your mouse over, but do not click Got Mead Live Radio Show, and click the drop down. That'll take you to a question form or info form that you can send, and that goes to all 3 of us. So I want to do a shout out to the folks who have been kind enough to provide sponsorships for us. First of all, we've got Honeybrook Meadery in Colorado, calling all mead lovers and adventure seekers. Look no further than Honeybrook Craft Meadery for your go-to destination for wonderful, light, and refreshing mead. The location in Castle Rock, Colorado, and the new garden cottage experience coming this spring to Littleton, Colorado. Actually, it's open now. Go to honnibrook.com to review the tap list, to see upcoming events, and to order online. And from July 23rd to August 2nd, 2025, take a magical meadery tour and step into the heart of Central Europe on a journey that blends history, culture, and craft in 3 remarkable capitals, Prague, Bratislava, and Warsaw. Explore vibrant cityscapes and quiet countryside, from medieval old towns and historic abbeys to family-run meaderies and world-renowned breweries. You will visit the Mead Museum in Prague, Strahov Monastery Brewery, Pilsner Urquell Brewery, Apamed Mead, Branislav, Novosedlik Mead, Riktar Jakub Brewery, Pasieka Jados Mead, Corpo Mead, and Apis Mead. This tour is limited to 25 people, so reserve your spot now at europeandiscoveries.llc.com/tours/250723CMM. Definitely check that out. I'd love to go on that. That would be great. So, welcome, Adrian. How you doing?
I'm great, thank you. Really glad to be here.
Good. Yeah. Are you having something to drink?
Of course, I have
What you got?
my flagship mead, which is just a traditional session mead, 6.5% sparkling, and I'm using Hawaiian honey, basically.
Oh, which one?
The tropical stuff from AT&S.
Oh, okay. Yeah, AT&S has some good honey.
They really do, and great prices. But
Mm-hmm.
they have this. It's sort of seasonal, what they call tropical, but
Yeah, it's kind of a version of wildflower, but more tropical.
right. But I know exactly what time of season when I want it's got. I think it to me reminds me of Lahua, but it's just got that delicate floral thing that works really well in a dry session mead.
Very cool.
But I also have a couple of whiskey barrel aged meads from the high end of my stuff: macadamia blossom and barrel aged Sizer. These are both aged in whiskey barrels from a local distillery.
Oh, nice. How long are you keeping them in the barrel?
I don't have to keep them in there too long because this particular distillery uses 25-gallon barrels, which happens to be the same size as a couple of conical fermenters that I have. So I can do some small batch, like super small batch stuff for barrels in those. And I think macadamia blossom works really well for with wood and whiskey, of course.
Mm-hmm. Of course. Okay, cool. What about you, Kevin? What are you drinking?
Well, a couple of weeks ago, Mark Tanner of Deception Cellars was passing through the Twin Cities. And so we set up a little meetup that was held here at my place with the local folks. Nathan Stiegman was in attendance, and he was kind enough to bring several bottles of Lost Cause special releases that he bought during a recent trip.
Oh,
my
nice.
selection this evening is Peel of Fortune. The base honey is Western buckwheat and carrot blossom with banana, date, hazelnut, walnuts, cinnamon, and candy cap mushrooms.
Good Lord.
Yeah, wow. Well, that's a typical Billy kind of thing, right? 25 ingredients. Yeah. If there's only 10, it's not enough. There's got to be lots more. But, with this many ingredients, it's impossible, certainly, to identify all of them. But some of them are pretty distinctive. In this case, cinnamon jumps out of the glass with some mild buckwheat aromas layered in underneath. And that's followed by some caramelly dried fruit notes. The flavor starts with some warming alcohol. High honey sweetness with dates, buckwheat, and cinnamon featured prominently. There's plenty of acidity to make this nice and lively. I will say when this was opened a couple of weeks ago, the maple syrup flavor, which is typically featured by the candy cap mushrooms, it was pretty prominent. It is now more, it's faded to more of a supporting role in this symphony, but it's very enjoyable.
Nice.
What about you, Vicki?
I have. Hang on, I flipped off the screen. I just realized it looks like we're not on YouTube. So, I am drinking Birminghorn's Drowmere, and this is a bilberry and lingonberry melomel. So full ABV and still, but it's the aromas are big time berries, and then there's this peppery, citrusy note to it that I really like. It's a semi-sweet mead, which is great, and the taste is earthy and a touch oaky, but you get the bilberries coming through, and they're well balanced with the tart lingonberries. Finishes this long, sweet tart thing with oakiness running all through it. It's really nice, very easy drinker. I love that it's semi. So many meads are sweet, which I like sweet, but my body doesn't care for it as much as I get older. But if you want to get this, and I recommend that you try it, it's birminghornmeadery.com. So, what about you, AJ?
I have got 1 glass of Vicky's Chemerlot and then a dealcoholized wine cooler.
Okay.
But this Chemerlot, I've had a couple sips already. It's everything I would ever want in a red wine with bonus meadness.
Ah,
I just like it a lot.
okay.
Nice. All right.
That is nice. So, Adrian, thank you for stepping in when I had not managed to get somebody after the day. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, I was hoping that this could happen sometime soon. Either way.
Well, I'm glad we got you. You were on the list, and I've been just so busy with offline stuff. I just keep falling down on the job. So I've basically just got to spend a day calling meaderies owners and mead makers and just fill up the rest of the schedule and get it done.
Well, I'm happy to be here and talk about some fun modern mead stuff.
Yeah. I noticed you had modern in your metering name. So was that just as a nod to I'm going to do things up to the whatever the latest and greatest is?
It's that for sure, but also I've noticed how many meaderies really lean into the Viking thing or the medieval connotations, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. There's definitely a crowd that wants that, but I'm not a Viking, and we're living in modern times, and I have all these modern methods that I learned from beer brewing as a professional brewer that I wanted to kind of bring into the mead world and make it more approachable, really, because I think mead needs to find its way into more households. And I think the way to do that is make it more approachable and drinkable by lowering alcohol and making it more affordable. So it's not such a special occasion thing for people. I think there's room for the industry for people to be drinking it every day, and if they do choose to drink every day, that is, and really make it more of a household thing.
Okay. That's pretty cool. And now you're like way the heck up there, the highest meadery in
you claim in the world,
US.
right? Yeah.
You maybe in the world, yeah.
In the world, as far as
on Everest.
I mean, they might be making some Sherpa style meads up there.
Yeah, you're doing it or something, yeah.
But they're probably not for sale, so
Yeah.
They probably don't have a tap room.
I definitely want to kind of go down the rabbit hole a little bit on the maybe the features or difficulties or things that you've run into with regard to the height, so like in cooking. So I have family who lives in Colorado Springs, which is pretty far up there too. And when you go to make bread, you have to hydrate it in a completely different way than people do at sea level. Do you have any similar challenges that you run into being at 10,000 feet?
Well, yeah, there's definitely the oxygen thing has a lot to do with it. And in beer brewing, I had to adjust recipes because water boils here at 195 degrees.
Right.
So I would have to add more hops, and also supplement oxygen. And I still have to do that or else I get stalls. So I have a warming tank where I mix my honey and water and get it up to fermentation temp, which is significantly higher than room temp for me. We'll get to that later. And then I have to put air stone pumping pure oxygen in line in the hose on the way to the fermenter.
Okay. So that's an approach that's pretty standard in the brewing world, right? I mean, inline oxygenation is absolutely de rigueur. So unfortunately, I think it's one of the things that a lot of small meaderies don't really bother with. So that's nice to hear, and that's a good way to solve your problem. Do you get a lot of like issues with off gassing more rapidly?
Well, I am using a type of yeast that is extremely aggressive, but it also doesn't tend to produce a lot of foam.
Mm-hmm.
So while it's off gassing a whole lot, it might not be. It's never going to be an issue for me like it would be with the proteins that are in beer that cause so much foam.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Which has been a real blessing because when I'm kegging, there's a lot of loss that happens with beer, and so it's much easier to make that happen without losing a lot of product.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah, there's not really a whole lot of different things I have to do because of the altitude.
Huh.
But I am having...
Breathing's a little different, but you're used to it.
Yeah, I actually grew up in Colorado Springs and moved here in 2006. And I went to school for forestry and outdoor recreation leadership. And then quickly got into homebrewing and said, that's for the birds.
And the animals and the trees.
Exactly. So life is sweet at 10,000 feet. Leadville is actually 10,200 feet, but my meadery is just a little bit lower. I just round it.
Oh, well, that's good enough. Good grief.
It rolls off the tongue a little better.
For sure. Yeah. So you have a tap room, and what's the population base that you're able to attract? How big is Cloud City? I don't really know.
Cloud City was the name of Leadville in the 1880s. And then it was switched to Silver City when they struck silver, and there was a big mining boom.
Okay, that's where Silver City is. There was then. Okay.
Right, and now I don't know why they landed on Leadville, but here we are. So there's only about 5,000 people in the whole county, which it is one of the biggest counties in Colorado. So there's few and far between people. And in the city, there's maybe 3,000 people. So I don't have a lot of locals to customers. So I have to make something that they love. And I've managed to do that. Having only been in this location since last September, it's not on the main street, so I don't get any foot traffic. So it's been kind of a challenge to get people to even know that I'm there. But little events where I can pop up and give samples at the local liquor store or events in town has been really helpful. So I have a pretty good following from locals, and I've had some ads in the paper and little local publicity, which has been really helpful. But I am on the highway, and Leadville is one of the bigger tourist towns because it's the highest established, or what's the word?
Well, the internet is telling me that Leadville is what did they say? It is the highest incorporated city in the United States.
That's right. That just means that we have a post office. There's higher towns.
Okay, well, still. The
highest post
apparently
office.
2,633 people during the last census. So, yeah.
That's like 4 times the size of my town.
But 10 times that many people roll through on any given day and drive right past my place.
Oh, yeah. So you got to haul them in off the road, huh?
In summer. But in winter, Leadville's not on the way to any ski resorts. We're close to a lot, but it's not really, it kind of dies completely in the winter.
So you get a sense you're kind of seasonal then to a certain extent, at least from a tasting room standpoint.
Right.
So how are you, keeping things going? I mean, are you seeing a lot of traffic in off the roads and all that kind of thing since you're in a teeny town?
Yeah, so I just had a banner made that has been probably the best $100 I ever spent, bringing people in off the road, and so that's worked so well that I think I can invest in a little bit better of a wooden sign and some lights on it, because that's been the biggest thing to grab people. Because luckily it is on a main highway.
Okay, so are you the sole proprietor, or do you have employees who work the tap room? How's that working out for you?
Well, so far it's been just me. I have been meaning to hire some help because I'm only open 5 days a week, and I think if I could add those other 2 days and be doing my work as well as helping patrons, I don't know. I think I need to hire somebody, but so far just me.
Okay.
Yeah, you can't do front and back at the same time. It doesn't work that way.
Yeah,
Pretty
it worked in the winter,
Unfortunately.
but I can't.
Oh, sure.
Yeah. Yeah, when it's church season though, that's a different thing.
Do you have like a full-time job as well, or is this your sole form of income?
Nope, this is it for now.
Wow.
I've invested all my time and efforts into this, and it's been I was breaking even sooner than I expected.
Well, that's
for
good.
you.
Yeah.
So I'm not losing money anymore, so that's pretty cool. But I think I'm going to have to really kick ass this summer to make up for the winter. But I am also starting to distribute, not very far, because I'm also just me. So on my days off, I'm driving up to an hour away to push a couple of canned meads.
Okay, so you have some method for canning then.
Yeah,
Do
actually,
you have like
so
an actual canning line, or what are you doing?
no. So I just have basically a homebrew October canning machine that I do 16-ounce cans on. And that supplies in-house and a couple of local liquor stores. And then I just recently have partnered with Tommy Knocker, which is one of the oldest breweries in Colorado. They're in Idaho Springs, and they, of course, we all know that beer numbers have dropped, so they have a lot more time on their hands. They're not running their own machine all the time, so they're contracting other beverage producers, and they got a pretty good price, so I don't have to buy a canning line, which is huge.
Mm-hmm.
That is huge.
Because they are not cheap. Even the little ones are not cheap.
Yeah,
No.
the cheapest one is probably $25,000.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. I know a lot of folks that are canning that are basically doing it by getting those roving canning guys, that go around with a canning setup and they just come park outside your meadery and do it.
But even
That
then,
is-
you got to have a lot of volume to push through one of those things, or they don't want to come.
Well, I can't say I blame them, I mean, they had to spend the $5,000 or whatever,
Right. There's all kinds of challenges, that's for sure. So it's awesome that you can drag a couple of kegs down there and have them can some product for you.
Yeah, they can even take care of it while I wait. They're really accommodating. It's awesome.
So you sit down and have a beer and they do your canning for you?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay, that sounds great. Well, I know you've had some competition success. In fact, you were one of our best in class winners for the Valkyrie's Horn competition.
Yeah, I was honored with the Fruit and Spice. King. What was it?
The Master of Fruit and Spice. Yeah.
Master.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Way to go.
So that's a big deal, I think, anyway. Of course, I'm biased, but we'll be doing that tasting now that we have that mead in our hands finally. And so we'll be doing that video coming up here shortly. So
Great.
you've entered some other competitions too, though, right?
Yeah, I've gotten medals from Dominus Cup and Orpheus. I haven't really, besides Valkyrie's Horn, I haven't really entered too many competitions.
Okay.
Partly because I've been focused on dialing in some recipes for full production, but also just I feel like I'm still getting the ball rolling, especially because I've only been in this new location for 6 months, not even a year. So I have to figure out my production schedule. So I'm making sure I'm not wasting time or money, you know. But it is important to get into more competitions, and I'll be pouring at the Orpheus Mead Fest in Golden, Colorado here in August too.
Okay, cool. That's one I honestly have never been to, and it's a very different kind of a scenario than the typical homebrew competition, I think, right?
Yeah, I haven't actually gone there, but from what I understand, it's like a normal beer fest that you would get a cup and unlimited pours, but you can also purchase from the vendors, where that's not allowed at a normal beer fest.
Yeah, right. So let's talk about like some of your ingredient sourcing and that sort of thing. Are you using all local honey, or no? You're not. You already told us that you're using some honey from Hawaii. So what are you kind of doing for sourcing?
That whatever honey I choose is dependent on the style, of course. So when I want to make something super light and light colored and easy to light on the tongue, then I'll use a super light Hawaiian honey if I can get it, Lehua, for instance. But some of these varietals, like Lehua, I hate to mess around with it too much, so I just let it shine as a traditional, even at 6 or 7% alcohol. And those have been some of my most popular, sparkling, dry, traditional with Hawaiian honey. But I also, you know, I feel like Colorado clover honey works really well with apple. So for my sizers, I use Colorado honey from a buddy of mine in the Front Range in Broomfield. He has some hives. And so my Colorado honey comes from a friend, basically.
That's great.
And I do love Hawaiian honey. And of course, we all know Sean, the honey man, has got a lock on some of the rarer varieties. And so like I try to get those as often as I can to feature that in my tap room, but those don't end up becoming big full production. So I offer a lot more in the tap room. I think I have 12 taps, and I also have a couple of more kegs that for still and room temp meads. So right now I think I have 12 meads and 3 or 4 non-alcoholic options.
Okay. So when somebody comes into the tap room and sees what you have there, and you have non-alcoholic, is the idea that you're trying to capture them for a certain length of time?
Oh, that's part of it. But I think because I watch the beer market change and take a dive, and part of it is that a lot of people are stopping drinking, but that doesn't mean they don't want to go out with their friends. And a lot of people everywhere really still want to hang out with their friends and enjoy something that's unique and special without all of the other parts that come with drinking. So and I've been a sober person for a period, and I appreciate when a brewery would offer something that's house made, that's non-alcoholic. So I've been making hopped tea with jasmine green tea and just dry hopping the heck out of it and carbonating it. And that's what I drink the most of when I'm there, because it's so just drinkable, and people love that. I have a house-made kombucha and a honey soda that rotates.
Oh, very cool.
Are you doing anything with food?
I do not have any food options right now. My space is very limited. Without anything in it, it's like 850 square feet.
Okay. And that includes your production area?
Yeah.
Oh boy, okay.
That's great.
So your
I
tap
crammed-
room seating is about 200 square feet or something?
Yeah, something like that. I got a long, like a 18-foot slab of wood that has several bar stools at that, and then a couple of other tables sitting on barrels, and some lounge area with some couch. It's
Wow.
enough for
Okay.
now. And I also have a patio, so I got some picnic tables and some yard games, and actually a bonfire pit.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
So with that very limited space, you're still able to generate enough income that you're not doing anything else for employment. That's impressive. It may also be an indication that you're very economical in your living arrangements, but that's really something.
Yeah, it is definitely being very careful about where you put your money in. And there may be a little bit of borrowing happening, but
Okay.
I think
Well,
I'm definitely on the path to get away from that and make a whole big living out of this.
Yeah, yeah. Well, location's important, and it sounds like you've got some good highway traffic. So now you just got to pull a few more of them in during the summer.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I just I gotta find a way to drag them in if they didn't see that sign on the highway. So I've been trying to get into more bars and restaurants, and it's been a little bit tricky because bar owners really like their beer prices, and when I come at them and say this is a little bit more for the same amount, it's about the same amount of alcohol as your craft beer, but it might be $60 more for the keg or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, well, I don't know if I can sell it for that percentage more. And then so it's kind of been a little battle with store owners and stuff because they don't quite understand the product.
Mm-hmm.
And then I have to explain, like Redstone has set a precedent that I am following a little bit. They came out with their carbonated 8% meads like almost 20 years ago, right?
Right.
And that was one of my first experiences with mead, aside from Chaucer's, of course. And so I got inspired right away to like fruited, carbonated, fresh tasting meads. And that's what I always wanted to do. And that's the path that I've followed. And part of what makes my mead unique, I think, is I don't actually ferment any of the fruit ever.
Okay, so your fruit's all going into secondary then?
That's right. So I'll overshoot my ABV and then dilute with fruit or juice or puree.
Okay.
So you asked where I'm sourcing some of my stuff. When I'm making the small batch with more rare fruits, then I'll do it like a home brewer does. I have some 14-gallon fermenters that work great for experimenting, and I can remove the lid so I can pull the fruit out really easy. So I use whole fruit on some small batch stuff, but I've been getting fruit puree from there's a few different producers, but there's a hub in Denver where I can just stop and pick it up and save all of the money from shipping. So that saves me like $50. Just Denver is not close, but it's not crazy. It's a little over an hour and a half.
Well, if you time it with some other things you need to do, it sort of makes it work, right?
Yeah, of course. So I'm getting aseptic. It's called just pasteurized in a bag. those Mylar bags, and
Yep.
then they
Yeah.
fill 44 pounds into a bag with a pour spout on it.
Right.
And that works really well for my conical beer fermenters.
Mm-hmm. And a lot
I
of
poured-
those producers also will provide you with clarified juice in those aseptic packages, so you don't even have puree to worry about.
That's true. I think you get some tannins and other things out of the fibers of the fruit.
I agree. It depends on what you're using, right? But for some things, it's nice to have just the juice because you reduce your losses by 30%.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Well, at least if you're serving clear mead. If you're not serving clear mead, I guess it doesn't matter. But
Most of what I serve is clear, but occasionally there's a stubborn fruit like guava.
oh, yeah,
Bananas.
that one's always hard.
Just give
Yep.
up. Tell people
yeah.
it's cold.
Yeah, or dose it with like 4 times the amount of pectic enzyme that you think you should use.
Yeah.
That works, by the way. Yes, it does.
Okay. People haven't seemed to mind a little bit of hazy mead if that haze comes from fruit.
Well,
So-
and now they're accustomed to it with hazy IPAs, which in that respect has been a plus, right?
Yeah, they definitely open the door to not being disgusted by your cloudy beverage.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think
so-
Redstone was probably the first commercial mead I ever had.
Nice.
Many
Yeah, it's
years
right up there for me too. I had that one and White Winter Winery were my first ones after Chaucer's, which was the very first commercial.
Yeah, I've never had Chaucer's, but
Well, if you have it now,
we were
it's
passing
actually
through Colorado and stopped in at.
it's actually a decent mead now. It wasn't back in the day.
Well, then I'm glad I missed it because I might have hated it.
Mhm. Well, we
started
used to.
buying
Yeah,
that when it was still good.
yeah. When I first tried it, it was like this, like really cloyingly sweet. And that's why they hung the spice around the neck of the bottle because you had to have that pretty much and heat it up with the spices because otherwise it just wasn't drinkable. And they were serving it at the Renaissance Festival, and I took one sip and was like, I could do something better than this. And that was how I got started with making mead. After that, I was on the hunt.
That's a great story.
Yeah.
So being that I don't ferment the fruit, I have all of this, and I cold crash after primary, move into the secondary fermenter, stabilize, then add the fruit. So I have a couple of 4-barrel fermenters and then a 5-barrel fermenter that'll hold all that extra fruit. So I'll be pumping over. It's almost clear. It's not fined, but there's not a lot of hop yeast particulates. I'll move that into the next vessel with the fruit, and then when I transfer out of that off of the fruit sediment, then I'm left with all of this slurry that I'm trying to figure out what to do with because it's like it's good, but it's not exactly palatable because of the texture. So I got a couple slushy machines. And tomorrow I'm going to find out how that goes.
All right.
Putting all of that mead fruit
Science.
slurry in a smoothie machine. We'll see.
Okay. And you might consider, if you know somebody who likes to make jellies or jams, maybe.
Is that something that you have done?
I have. I had limited success the first time I did it. I made a huge raspberry mead, like a 1.160 gravity starting. And so, when it finished, the slurry was like at 1.080 still. And, plenty sweet, tasted great. I decided I'd try to make jam with it, but I didn't use enough pectin to get it to set fully.
Had you used pectinase?
No, well, I probably did in the original.
Yeah.
But also the alcohol inhibits pectin, and so I just didn't use enough. It almost set, but not quite. It's more like a raspberry sauce than than jelly or jam, right? But I think the potential is there. That's the only reason I mentioned. I think it's a possibility.
I usually
Otherwise,
just put vanilla ice
livestock.
cream.
Yeah, livestock, throw it out for the deer. That's what
Or
Ken
hog.
Schultz does over in
Get you back to
Montana.
his
He,
junk.
yeah, throws it out in the woods for the deer, and or you can put it on ice cream.
It's a good idea.
Yeah,
But
I've done the ice cream
the slushy machine's a good experiment.
thing.
Yeah, I'm curious to see how that turns out because I don't know. I've never used a slushy machine, so
Yeah, that's
Well, I know
just another
Honeybrook
thing
does
that
it,
that's
but I don't
another
know
thing
if they
that
do it
Honeybrook
with
Honeybrook,
has
slurs.
them.
So yeah.
Honeybrook inspired me in a lot of ways. I had already had a plan to open a meadery when I learned about them and looked at their website, and I was like, "Whoa, you guys are doing exactly what I had already planned." Kind of. So that's cool to
Way
know
down in
that.
the springs. So,
Yeah, and they're now the biggest meadery in the state, I think.
oh, are they?
I think
Interesting.
from a production standpoint, that is correct.
Yeah, and now they opened a second beer or mead garden closer in the city, and that's a really good sign.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
There's over 400 breweries in Colorado and under 20 meaderies.
Right. And
Yeah.
unfortunately, some of the meaderies are having a real hard time.
Yeah. Well, you got to have really good product if people have never had it before, especially, or if they've had mead. And this has been one of my biggest struggles is people come in and they say I got dragged in here by my friend. I've had mead before. No thanks.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
My answer to them when they say that, because I hear that all the time, and I'll go, well, did you, when you tried a beer, did you think that all beer tasted just like that? And if you didn't like it, that all beer was bad? And they're like, well, no. And I said, mead's the same way. There's 80 million different mead types and combinations, and the variety is endless. And it can be dry, it can be sweet, it can be somewhere in between. It can have fruit, it can have spices, it can, and they're like, oh, wow, I never knew, So,
and also the quality is highly variable.
oh,
Yeah.
absolutely. Just like anything. I mean,
Yep. Just like breweries, you
just like breweries.
you go into a big brewery sometimes and it's not good, and you go into a little brewery and it's not good. Sometimes you go into a little brewery and it's amazing. I mean, you never really know.
No, you really don't.
Yeah, when people say, "Oh, I don't like anything sweet, so I'll just sit this one out," I say, "Well, mead isn't necessarily sweet." And when they say, "I don't like mead," I say, "Well, have you had modern mead?" And that I think raises an eyebrow. I get to give them a sample, and they're like, "Whoa, this is not like anything what I expected."
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of one of my favorite
stereotypes is so much fun.
Yep, I can see that.
Exactly.
The big problem for you then is, okay, so they start out with this negative bias, and that means that there's a lot of people, if they have that bias already, that are just not going to roll in your door and try it.
Yeah,
that's true.
They drive by on the highway and they're like, oh, a meadery. Oh yeah, I've had mead. I don't want to do that. I mean, right there you lost them. So how do you fix that?
I guess you're relying on their friends.
I think going and doing in-store tastings is huge. Anytime that I've done that at a local store, my mead is their best seller that day, which is pretty impressive. I think that says something for like getting it in people's mouths at their point of sale.
Right. So now here's a question. Is that something you can do in a bar where you're trying to do your little, distribution of a keg?
Yeah, I've actually been invited recently to a venue that does music in Frisco, which is right by Lake Dillon, which is kind of the hub of ski country, Colorado. There's like 7 different ski resorts within 20, 30 minutes. Anyway, they asked me to come and give out samples. Well, they didn't ask. They said, if you want to, we're going to buy this case and we're going to sell this. If you want to give out samples, you're welcome to do that this weekend or whatever. So I think really that's the best thing we can do is give it away for free to teach people that have it in their mind. I'm not going to pay for that. I don't like it.
Yeah.
Well, don't pay for it.
You got to get them to taste it first.
Exactly.
Great.
So I've been going all over the Arkansas Valley, where the headwaters of the Arkansas River up here, and just handing a 12-ounce can of mead with my business card on it and say, give this a try. Let me know. Maybe I'll come back next week and see what you think. And that's another thing that I wasn't expecting is to become a salesman. I just never thought about it. It's hard.
Yeah, it's part of the deal.
And a graphic designer.
Hire someone. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I've done everything. I've made my labels, made the mead, sold the mead. It's fulfilling, but I think once I get my production up a little more and get my name out there a little bit further, then I can hire somebody and really start pushing mead a little bit further into the state. Because my batch size right now is only 100 to 150 gallons.
Okay.
And I have a lot of space to grow vertically with my tanks. So I could probably fit, like I have 4 and 5 barrels. I could probably fit, if it's designed to be shorter, I could probably fit 20 barrel fermenters in there.
Okay. Well, they do make short fat barrels for 20 barrel fermenters. So yeah.
They do. And lately, since the beer market has taken such a dive, there's so much available equipment out there for dirt cheap.
Yep. In that respect, it's a good time to be starting something new. But of course, it's also a bad time because alcohol consumption in general is down quite a bit. So
yeah,
good with the bad, unfortunately.
But do you have any statistics about the increase of popularity of mead?
no.
I heard it's the fastest growing segment of the alcohol industry.
I think that's accurate from everything I've heard in meetings with the AMA and some other places. But
anecdotally, you can say that, but there are no statistics because they track mead as wine. So there's no delineation between wine and mead at the federal level where they keep track of that stuff.
Because of course.
Right.
Because why not? Yeah.
Also just the alcohol industry in general is in decline, and so that plays a huge role too. I mean, sure, it might be growing somewhat in the alcohol segment, but alcohol in general is declining. So I don't know. It creates some tough headwinds that you have to be able to deal with. Not that you can't make it, but it's a little hard. It's not like the craft beer boom, where you and your buddy who made mediocre or crappy beer could open a brewery and actually make money for a few years. I mean,
and tell people,
I like that anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
you got to make good
same
stuff.
thing.
And so that's another question. Like, how are you marketing or advertising your product beyond your local community? Is that something you're working on, or is it all strictly local and reaching out to the bars and liquor stores in your area?
Well, because my distribution is so hyper local, I haven't felt the need to reach out past or even into the Front Range very much. But I've gone to a couple of beer festivals and poured in Golden, and it's gotten really good reactions. And then later had people coming through Leadville, which, like I said, is over an hour and a half away. And they're like, hey, I had your mead at this festival and I had to come, we were coming through here, and I made sure to stop because, so yeah, it is important to advertise outside your area. But
that's awesome.
I've spent a lot on all of the local tourist magazines to get an ad in them.
Smart.
Yeah, they have seasonal ones, whether it's for
Mhm.
skiing or mountain biking or fishing or just
Yeah,
a visitor guide type of thing.
Right. Yep.
we
That
have
was
those
gonna be
around
one of
here.
my
I live
questions.
in a resort area, so yeah, same. Small town, but we're covered up in tourists all summer long, you know.
Yep. And I have some like rack cards, those like 10-inch tall,
Hmm.
4-inch wide cards, explaining what mead is, showing pictures of my tap room and where it's at. Like it has a couple of QR codes to like the tap list and Facebook and Instagram. So I try to get those to some of the tourist uh, town centers and stuff.
That's
Uh,
cool.
that's been a little helpful. It's hard to tell. I try to ask people when they come in, "How'd you find out about me?" So I can do a little R&D that way. But the sign on the
Hmm.
road is the biggest attraction.
Mhm.
Interestingly,
We have a meadery up near me, about 30 minutes from here, and he's way back in the woods, like off the beaten path. You wouldn't ever know he was there if you didn't know he was there.
Does that
And
promote deliverance?
a little bit, you could just about hear the banjos out there.
Yeah.
But it's I mean he's back in the woods. He's got a frisbee golf course that he built there, and a really nice tap room with a restaurant and a big field and a barn where they have parties. And I mean it's really a nice setup, But you wouldn't know it was there unless you knew it was there. So now what he's got is he got the road commission to put up road signs because they have those attractions signs on the highway.
Mhm.
yeah,
Right.
So he's got attraction signs going north and coming south. He's got billboards going north and coming south. He's got he does like you were doing. He's doing ads in all the little local tourist trap papers that happen in season, and so he's basically just kind of getting his place in front of every potential place that he can, and that way he keeps him going and doesn't have any problems.
yeah. Like Wall Drug, how they have those billboards like 200-300 miles away.
Yeah.
Get ready. Yeah,
Yeah,
that is a great way to rope people in. Like Steamboat.
it works.
Life
Yeah,
goals.
Yeah, there's
yeah,
another place
it
in
works.
Steamboat Springs that they sell hats, and there's nothing on the way in for like 100 miles except for signs for this hat store.
Oh my god!
So by the time you get there, you're like, I gotta have a hat.
You can do it like the Burma shave signs. And just have 3 or 4 of them. It says, "I feel the need for mead. Stop in, Ed."
Yeah. All right. So you want to talk about some more techniques and maybe
Sure.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, you're playing with kveik a lot. It sounds like.
Yeah, so I discovered kveik as a beer brewer probably 7 or 8 years ago and saw what it could do in a beer fermentation, which was so much different and like broke all the rules. If anyone has used kveik, you know that it does not play by the same rules, especially as wine yeast. Because it is an ale yeast, I think that was more understandable for me. I've used several strains of wine yeast, and I was pretty much always disappointed. I made some okay stuff, but it was always, I don't know. I feel like there hasn't been as much innovation in wine, or like, maybe a new strain of yeast that is good for something. We're using the same yeast that we have for who knows how long with wine yeast. So I wanted to put a new modern spin on it and use an ale yeast. So I started with, the classics, US05, US or S04, and I liked what happened. So I was like, also using this kveik in beer. So I was like, well, let's find out what happens. It produces this cool tropical fruity ester. I wonder if that'll happen the same way with mead without hops. So
Right.
I did. I ran it at close to 100 degrees. It was done in like 2 days. I only shot for like 8%. And I tasted it, and there was absolutely no flaws. Like freshly finished fermenting, and it's like, whoa, I could drink this just like this. Right. Whereas that was never the case with any wine yeast that I use. But also, like, of course, it goes super dry. But even then, sometimes extra bone dry wine fermentation is almost like offensive.
Yeah.
until you sweeten it. But like, I can still get away with bone dry without back sweetening at least one or two of my meads. Mm-hmm. So anyway, I found out that there's not only one or two strains of this kveik, but there's actually like over 60. Let me see.
Yeah, there's a bunch.
Good Lord, are they up to that many already? I knew there was multiple strains, but holy cow.
There's 72 in the kveik registry.
Wow.
Yeah.
So
it
if
is growing.
Tropical from what you're fermenting with, you're probably using Voss or Hornindal.
I never really played with those easy to get ones as much. I mean, I use Voss for like my mead mosa or any citrus meads, but I'm using actually a blend of a couple of different strains. Like I really like SB because it has proven to give me like a fruit cup, like a mixture of all of those things that are kind of muddled because they've been sitting in the water together, and even like that slight touch of the one single half of a cherry.
Okay.
And then
it's like a dry martini show at the bottle of vermouth.
Yeah, exactly. And then also throwing in another super tropical fruit ester pushing yeast like Ebb Garden, or what else do I use? There's such weird names.
Well, it's because of where they come from. They're all place names.
Or families. Stranda is another one that I use.
Right.
So there's a yeast lab in Golden, which is kind of the gateway into the mountains. So if I'm going into the city, I pass through there, which is convenient. Also, I don't have to worry about my yeast being in transit.
Mm-hmm.
That's
nice.
Kveik is kind of bulletproof.
It's very durable. Yeah.
So
I did an interview a couple of years back with Marius Garschel, who's kind of the guy that brought all this stuff forward for us. And one of the things that he was saying is that at that time, at least, some recent research had discovered that kveik in general had a lot of trehalose in it, which is an unfermentable sugar that yeast use to construct their cell walls and makes them more durable. And it's unusual in the sense that most yeast strains don't really produce a lot of trehalose. They produce some, but kveik in general produced a lot more, which is why they could beat the crap out of it by putting it on a kveik ring and hanging it on the the shop wall for a year until they used it again.
Yeah, abused is to say the least. But it evolved from that abuse to become something very unique and special to me. And also, I've also played with some of these genetically modified yeasts that are gene selected to produce thiols.
Okay.
And evidently, honey has all of these amazing precursors to thiols, like even more than hops does. So I tried throwing some hops in the primary fermentation because it does a biotransformation and produces those thiols with hops, but also the honey. And I ended up with a mead that tasted more like IPA than some IPAs.
Really?
Yeah, it was
Wow.
really
Oh,
interesting.
interesting.
So not only was there hops in primary, but I also dry hopped the heck out of it with some New World hops, and it was really cool. I brought it to a festival in Golden and a beer fest, and I couldn't tell you how many people said this is my favorite IPA at this beer fest. I'm like, okay, well, it's not beer, so enjoy that.
Yeah. And it's gluten free.
Yeah.
So there's
Somebody
and so I
can have
started
an
doing the same.
IPA that's gluten free.
Right.
Yeah.
And maybe sometimes tastes even better than a
Right.
real IPA.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I tried doing that same thing with kveik, and I got similar results. And so I don't have to spend a ton on that. Those thiolized yeasts,
Right.
because you can't reuse them because it throws off the cells. Like I don't really know, but you're not even supposed to make starters with them apparently.
Huh. Okay.
Because it's
Interesting.
yeah, that's one thing I learned, and I was like, well, that's not really practical because I need to ranch my yeast and save tons of money. That way I can get through 7 or 8 batches with the same yeast before I'm like, okay, that's probably pushing it and get rid of it.
Mm-hmm.
Which that saves hundreds of dollars on even a smaller 5-gallon batch. Or I mean,
Right.
not 5-barrel batch.
Yep. So you do you have a yeast break, or are you putting it in the fridge, or what are you doing?
I'm using a corny keg.
Okay.
And that seems to work pretty well. I've also used a smaller Speedel plastic in the past. It works pretty well.
And so what you're just racking the yeast slurry into one of those containers and holding it until you make your next batch, or what? How are you handling that?
Yeah, that's exactly it. But I try to plan for my next batch to be like that same day.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So I'll clean the tank, or I'll dump the yeast, hold it, clean the tank, put the must in the tank, and then the yeast.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
So I do have a microscope for checking cell counts, but I hardly ever even pick it up because I've just it's pretty much a shot in the dark, and I feel like very unscientific about it sometimes, but it works. It works great, and I'm probably over pitching, but even what is the worst thing that could happen with over pitching? Like, unless you're sitting on the yeast for months, it's not going to be a problem.
Right.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of bad stuff that can happen.
Yeah.
So what are you doing for a nutrient schedule when you're harvesting and reusing your yeast like this, especially with your kveik strains? Because there's a lot of people who hold to the idea that kveik needs a lot more nutrients. I don't personally believe it, but there's a lot of people who do. So how do you handle it?
Well, I'm relatively sure that it does require a lot more nutrients. So I set it Tosna to high N requirement, and that seems to do it. But definitely when I have forgotten to do that and added a regular amount, then it pushes a lot of sulfur. So if you're underutilizing nutrients, then it's gonna push some farts, yeast farts. But when I do, I try to keep a nose on these things, and like the first indication that I'm getting anything like that, I'll toss in some Fermate K, so it seems to act fast. Junk food, you know.
Right. Yeah, I kind of wonder if that sulfur might be from the pitch rate that you're using. because you're
That's
saying
possible.
you're probably over pitching. So I know, like for me, I'm pretty careful about my pitch rate, and I don't get sulfur, and I don't overfeed it either. So yeah,
I really only get
that'd be kind of a
sulfur.
fun trial to run, and see what really happens on a homebrew scale. 'Cause I think most of this stuff came out of the commercial, brewing industry. So
I really only get sulfur if I'm trying something different, or like a piment. Sometimes I just made a Viognier piment that it was a stinky one, but now that it's been probably a month since fermentation, I've now clarified and back sweetened it, and there's no more sulfur, and it's really nice now. So these things do go away pretty quick, especially with some back sweetening.
yeah, so that's actually I made a Viognier a few years ago, and it turned out really nice. But now that we're talking about this, I'm thinking one of those kveik strains on the Viognier would be a pretty good choice. Accentuate that pineapple note that Viognier is known for.
Yeah.
That's a neat idea.
Yeah,
And Hawaiian honey. That one had Hawaiian honey in it, so
okay.
that's another point for tropical flavor.
Right. Yeah.
So my mother is a sommelier. She has gone through all the training. She only did it for herself. It wasn't for
that's a lot of education.
A lot of work.
Just because. Yeah.
She's a geek, a wine geek for sure. And so she kind of helps me guide my hand with piment. And this one I think is going to be really nice. It's probably going to be out in the next 2 weeks, so I'm excited for that.
Yeah. Does she get involved in tasting your meads and stuff and telling you what she thinks?
Oh, yeah, especially when I'm doing something that's very much a wine style, then I will make sure I run it past her. Or especially when I'm back sweetening or something, I get her in on the bench trial, and we always agree on it. So that's a good. That's why I keep inviting her, obviously. But
well, she's your mom,
Yeah, but I need to know, like, hey, do you think this would do better with a little French oak, or should I add some acid to this, or maybe you don't know what I'm talking about, so here, taste this and that. It works really well.
Yeah, well, that's very handy to have your own private sommelier available.
Definitely.
Yeah.
One of the things you said is that you're running your kveik fermentations around 100 degrees, and the typical small fermenters that you find in a brewery, sounds like that's what you're using. How do you maintain the temperature in those containers?
Well, they are all jacketed with glycol, which I turn on when I need to cold crash. But that jacket, it's like 3 inches deep or wide and is full of liquid. So that is a pretty good insulator in itself. And at first, when I started doing this on a bigger scale, like over 100 gallons, I was like wondering how it's going to go. Am I going to have to supplement heat? And I had a plan for that to run through my HLT through a Herms coil and back in the fermenter. And I did that actually on the first batch, but it was actively fermenting. So running it through that huge coil kicked loose all of that gas, and I had all kinds of cavities of gas in the tube, and it was a nightmare trying to recirculate it. And then the next batch, I was like, let's just see what happens. I'll throw a blanket over the top of the dome, try to keep as much heat in as I can, and let it run. So it just kind of free falls. And this has been working for me. If I start at 100 or 102, pitch the yeast, and a couple days later, it's done, and it's like still 75, 80 degrees.
Okay.
And probably 4 or 5 days
Mhm.
max.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Well,
So I'm glad
that's interesting.
I had a backup plan, but it didn't have to really employ it, luckily.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess I was thinking you could split off your glycol and run it through an HLT.
I thought about that too, or just or just having water. No, yeah. There's a lot of things I thought about, but luckily I don't have to do all that. So back to kveik, there's so many strains that came from farmhouse families across Norway and even further east. That some of these strains that Lars collected were full culture, like mixed culture, including
Right.
lacto and some souring bacterias, and a bunch of multiple strains of yeast, wild yeast.
Right.
So with modern technology and yeast labs, they've isolated some of these strains for brewers that don't want all of that extra funk. But I gave it a shot. I really liked the sound of what a strain called Rima does. And it's that it had more like caramel, toffee, leathery notes. So that sounded really good for me for a macadamia blossom mead. And so I made a small batch of a 12% with it. And it kind of struggled to reach 12%, but it made it. And then I kept that yeast and I used it on another smaller batch at like made to be 7%. And I kind of forgot about this mead. After fermentation, I usually am quick to pull it off the yeast, stabilize, make sure there's nothing else going on. But I forgot about this. It probably sat for 2 or 3 weeks on this full mixed culture of yeast and bacteria. And I tasted it and I was like, oh no, this has gotten infected and it's probably going to have to get dumped. And but I was like, so it's kind of also starting to taste like it's going in a direction that is desirable. And having experience with a lot of mixed culture beers and barrel aged full culture sours, I knew kind of what it was, what the first indications of being awesome is in a sour. So I let it go another 2 weeks, and I was like, well, actually, this is freaking awesome. And it was a macadamia blossom that turned sour, not fully unintentionally, but also definitely not intentionally. I knew it was possible, but I kind of just forgot. And also, I tried making sour meads in the past, and I never really liked what happened. And I equated it to not having the complex sugars that beer has. So I just kind of chalked it up to sour mead's not good. I used Philly sour. I used full culture mixed like lambic and other souring stuff. And I never cared for it until I made this one sour kveik. And I ended up having 25 gallons of it and tested it on some people. And they're like, wow, this is really great. And I was like, I think you're right. I think I'm onto something new and awesome. Maybe not that new because it's kveik, but. So I'm wondering how many other sour meads are out there commercially available.
And there's a fair number. I've run across quite a few, so they're out there. Not as many as I'd like to see because I like sours.
Yeah, I haven't seen any, but I would like to taste some to see how it mine.
Yeah, let's see. Let me see. Gold Coast down in San Diego makes a couple of sours. Let me think. Who else have I seen? Charm City has some sours. Who else? I know there's other ones. I've got several down in the stash, but off the top of my head, I'll have to sit down and think about it. But they're out there.
Good. I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah, you are not alone.
So have you or anyone you have? So you've tasted some sours. I know
Yeah.
you're not making so much lately, but have you ever made a sour?
No, I have not. Now, right now, I'm not making anything at all because the mead production space is covered in boxes. So
There's 100 ways to skin a cat. So I want to taste. I want to taste all these different meads that are sour. I'm excited to look into that.
yeah, I'll have to dig into my notes and see if I can figure out who else has got them and let you know.
Now, in the past, when I had made a sour mead that was really actually super good, it was not even really technically a mead. It was a braggot. So I made a sour. No, yeah, I had a sour barrel-aged beer that was really good. It had this pixie stick kind of sourness. And then I blended that with a sweet raspberry and chocolate session mead. And it was still to this day my favorite thing I've ever made. And it took gold at the Orpheus Cup for experimental.
Nice.
And I wish there was more braggots in the world. It's kind of sad the way that the law is all laid out for that.
Yeah, really.
Yeah, that's goofy.
So yeah, it got up to 63 degrees here today. That was nice.
89.
Oh God.
No, it's been like 75 lately, but today was cloudy.
We only hit 80 today.
So in your location, what do you get like for rainfall?
We usually get something like a monsoon that is very predictable in the late summer, but it kind of happened like that this spring too. We had afternoon showers that you could almost set your watch by. But the record high of all time here in Leadville is 86 degrees.
Huh.
Wow, really? That's the record high.
Yeah.
Okay.
But if you're in the sun,
what about
it
winter?
feels-
How is it in the winter? Is it like mild during the winter then?
it's probably similar to you guys' region.
Well, our regions are
-20.
somewhat different, but I mean, because
Well,
AJ's in Canada, so
Yeah, I get. Let me convert it to Fahrenheit. I get like 90 in the summer to -20 in the winter.
yeah, that's almost where I'm at.
Okay.
okay.
Like wind chill gets down 40 below sometimes, and
Yeah, that's always fun.
it's rough. Not going to see anyone walking around outside that time.
Well, I know like the Front Range, they don't get a lot of rain typically, so that's why I was curious.
Well, this is ski country. We get a lot of moisture in the winter that stays through the summer. So we got a lot of creeks and moisture.
Mm-hmm.
There's the closest 4x4 trail that goes over the Mosquito Range is called Mosquito Pass. So of course we have a lot of mosquitoes in the summer that you probably wouldn't expect at a high altitude where it's cold. But it's also Lake County, so
Yeah.
if that says anything.
So are there any other kind of like local ingredients that are endemic to your area that you seek out?
So there was a point where they called Leadville, the town flower of Leadville was dandelions because they're so prevalent and they bloom so late. We're kind of in the middle of the yellow bloom right now. So you probably don't see too many yellow dandelions still. They last all summer here because there's like portions of the ground that had snow on it until just recently.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it's a really cool community because there's so many. So it's a mining town that pretty much destroyed one side of the valley that we're in. But it's okay because the other side of the valley is wilderness area, completely protected, and nothing's ever been built there. So we have the best of both worlds. If you want to jump on a dirt bike and ride around all these trails, there's limitless possibilities over through the mining district. Or if you want to feel like you're 100 miles away from anyone, or stand on top of a mountain where it feels like no one's ever been there, we got a wilderness area just on the other side where we have the two tallest peaks in the Rockies. So we have a lot of tourists for those reasons. It's pretty great. But it sucks when you can't even cross the main street on foot because there's so much car traffic.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Sounds like Myrtle Beach. The summertime is just wall-to-wall cars on main drag.
Yeah. And we have some really cool events here. Like one that happens in the winter in February is called ski joring.
Oh yeah.
Oh, ski joring, yeah. Used to do that as a kid. I'm surprised I lived.
Yeah.
So they made a whole sport of it, and you go off jumps and catch these rings on your hand, weaving through gates on skis, being pulled by a horse. It's pretty exciting.
Yeah, it's like slalom but with a horse.
Yeah. And this year more people showed up to town than ever before. And I went out to hand out those flyers, and it was crazy. It took me 30 minutes just to walk down one side of this, probably 6 blocks.
Wow.
Oh wow.
And
That's great.
yeah, it was great, but people are really finding out about this town. It's blown up a lot in the last 15 years. And even especially just since COVID, when everyone realized they can work from home wherever they are. Why would you live in a city?
Yeah.
Much.
So yeah, there's been a big flood of city folk to the mountain. I think South Park probably did an episode about it.
Oh, probably, yeah.
Well, I'm afraid I have to step away. It's been nice chatting with you, and I'd love to talk some more, but unfortunately tonight I can't. So thanks for being here, and hold on to the fort, ladies.
Oh yeah, we got it.
Appreciate your help getting my entries at Valkyrie's Horn replaced when they leaked.
Oh, absolutely no problem.
Oh, that was true.
All right, have a good night.
Breakage and stuff. Yeah, so that happens. We do our best to accommodate. Congrats.
Right on. Have a good night.
Yeah, you too.
Yeah, take care of Mari.
All right, will do.
All right. So, what's the plans for going forward? I mean, what are are you looking at expansion, growth?
Well, right now, I spent 10 grand to put in a slot floor drain in this place, so I better get my money's worth.
Gotta have floor drains, man. Those are critical.
Yeah, and I have space to grow to switch out my tanks for taller ones. So I don't see any reason to move anytime soon unless something spectacular falls in my lap.
Okay.
And so I have room to increase production. I may end up building like a walk-in fridge outside or something like that so I can store more product. I don't even really need to keep it cold, but kegs, especially if I need to like getting kegs ready for canning, then they need to stay cold. But yeah, I want to start getting in a rhythm of production a little more so I can, and getting some solid relationships with little smaller stores around here and try to get in some bars and restaurants. And local's the best. I mean, wherever you go, you'll find a regional meadery or something like that, or a restaurant or whatever that's very small and very, very good. And it
Yeah.
seems like a lot of times when something small tries to go big, all of the quality suffers. So I'm trying to maintain that, the same quality you could get at home, and just increasing production and making sure that it stays in line with the kind of thing that has been winning me medals since I was homebrewing.
Okay. Now, are you on Vino Shipper, or are you just going with on the ground distribution and whatnot?
Yeah, I've thought about it, but maybe you can help me and give me more info about that. But I feel like I would have. Again, I'm just by myself, so it would add a huge layer of other thing to worry about, including
There's the packing and the shipping, and that has to happen in a timely fashion. So yeah, you'd have to,
I've been very intentional about where I step with this thing, and like not putting myself out there too early was a big thing. Because as soon as you say, "Hey, Mead, check out Mead," they're like, "Okay, give it to me now," and they're like, "Oh, wait, but not for 3 weeks." So I wanted to really get everything in hand before I even started being a salesman and going around trying to offer this to anyone. And I wanted to dial in my process and make sure I wasn't making any mistakes, because when you go to a new place, you give them a chance. It's like an interview for the rest of your relationship with that business. So I know I've been a patron long enough to where if I had a bad experience the first time, I'm probably not coming back.
Yeah, and that's true for most people. So yeah.
Yeah. You have to make sure that everyone has a good experience their first time. So all of my Google reviews are 5 stars, which I'm proud of. And
nice.
Every time somebody comes in with that slanted smile, they're like, "My friends, what are you gonna give me? I don't like mead." Definitely, there's always something that
challenge accepted.
There's something for everyone, and if your repertoire is wide enough, you can snag something. Like sometimes people are like, "I don't like anything except for the peanut butter and jelly." And I'm like, "Oh, well, the last person or your best friend next to you said they like everything except for the peanut butter and jelly." So, and it's really, you got to take these things with a grain of salt. Never take it personally. Everyone has their own flavor preferences.
Or think they do.
Yeah, and it's also regional. And what I've learned up here, people want dry mead. Even if they say they like sweet, they end up drinking the drier stuff.
Huh.
Yeah.
It's interesting because I found that the people that say they prefer drier things end up drinking the sweeter things, which is really an interesting little tidbit,
Maybe it's me. Maybe I'm just better at drier meads.
Well, yeah. No, I mean, I've served drier meads to people, and good ones, and had them go, "Yeah, that's not really what I was thinking," and then I bring them a sweeter one. "Oh yeah, I really like this." "Oh yeah, you told me you're like a Merlot nut."
Yeah, they don't know what they want.
They don't know what they want. Yeah, that's basically what it comes down to. Is quite a lot of them just don't know what they want, or wouldn't. They don't know what dry actually means, or sweet or whatever. They're just going by what it says on the bottle,
Yeah.
or what somebody told them. So, you feel up to handling some Nathan questions?
Yeah, hit me.
All right. Okay, so what things do you miss about your former life at Periodic Brewing, and what things do you feel it helped in charting your future path in mead?
Wow, he does dig deep.
Yeah.
So I.
That's why I asked if you were felt up to it.
The biggest thing I think I missed from being the head brewer at Periodic was that I didn't have any other responsibilities. I don't have to look at any numbers of money. I don't have to be face of the brand. I don't have to talk to customers as in the back of a brewery, you know? Not that there's anything, I have anything against customers. I like people.
It's just nice being head down creating, you know?
Yeah. And a small brew pub, these tanks that I'm using now actually came from Periodic.
Oh, okay.
So I'm still using the same equipment I was 10 years ago, which is pretty funny.
That is funny.
But yeah, the biggest thing I think I miss is beer is just different, and it's not better or worse. I think that there's just a place for everything, and I would say that I miss beer a little bit. But mead has so much more potential. Mead can be anything. Beer has to taste like beer, pretty much. I mean, they've done a lot to avoid that with these smoothie sours and stuff, but
And they're fun to drink, I have to say. I there's a sour cherry beer that I used to get in North Carolina that I really liked.
yeah, but and also cider always has to taste like apples, basically. And seltzer always has to taste like you're drinking TV static while someone yells the name of a fruit from another room.
I have never heard it described like, oh my god, I'm stealing that so totally. That's great.
So,
Best explanation I've ever heard for seltzers.
seltzer has had its day. I think it's over. And just by watching the craze of that come and go, I think that alone shows that how thirsty people are for something different.
Something different, yeah.
And something that's light and dry and, you know, carbonated.
Easy to drink. Yeah.
So while I hate seltzer, I'm not going to ignore the fact that it had a huge surge in popularity, which I hope is fading. But
well, there's a bunch of meaderies that jumped on the bandwagon and they make seltzers.
Yeah,
along with mead and whatever else they make. But
you can make a seltzer.
It applies to a different demographic, you know, so it's, you know, what it is. I mean, not my go-to, but they're broadening their offerings so that they can, you know, get more people in.
Said for pretentious water, I mean.
Yeah. Water with a tube, man.
So that just leaves space for, I think, for session mead to step into that gap. And
yeah, that's true.
And like I was saying earlier, it's not just for a special occasion, especially if you're going to get a 4-pack or a tall can of something bubbly.
Yeah. No, that's just for drinking, you know. That's Friday nights or going to the beach or, you know, whatever.
Or, you know, there's a mead for every occasion, too. Like, my mom has been trying to help me with pairings, like specifically trying to maybe work with a local high-end restaurant and make a food and mead pairing event.
Oh, yeah.
And
those are great fun.
I think there's a mead for every food or like pairing and every occasion. Like right now I'm drinking a macadamia blossom barrel aged, and I wish I was sitting by a fire. I think that would be the perfect thing to compliment this. So there's different pairings that aren't something else you put in your mouth too. Like an experience can be a pairing, whether it's a concert or camping.
Yeah.
It reminds me of something Tom said once. Like when you're building a recipe or adjusting flavors, you have to think of it like a song. And layering it over, you know, you got your bass, you got your drum beat, that would be, the honey that you used and the yeast that you used. You can complement those base flavors with a little bit of guitar, which might be a fruit, or a little bit of violin, which could be a spice. But once you layer these things all over to make that song, it has all the little complexities that you could listen with your tongue to each individual piece. And you can do that with a song, right?
Yeah.
That was something that Tom said that I thought was really poetic and beautiful. And I think about it a lot.
It sounds like a Tom thing.
Yeah, he's a poet. He's a farmer. He's a ranch hand.
And he's a poet.
Where does he find the time? I don't know.
I honestly don't know. I mean, I get tired just reading his stuff on Facebook, and he's just constantly going.
Well,
he's a Renaissance man.
He's an inspiration is what he is. I went to.
He is, yeah.
I was on a motorcycle trip around the country a couple of years ago. Before I opened, I was like, I need to do something that feels really free before I get into this, and then I'll be locked down for who knows how long. So I took a motorcycle trip, and I went through South Dakota, and I happened to stop at the brewery. What is it? It starts with a Z.
Oh, yeah. The one that Tom's doing his mead at?
Yeah, and he hadn't quite got the mead flowing yet, but I met his wife, who is an absolute gem. And talked with her about mead, and that was really cool to see where he was doing all this before it even happened, and I applaud him. Yeah,
he's doing. I want to get over there. We've been talking about taking a drive over there and hanging out for a few days. I want to see their place. I see the pictures they've got. I've had lots of Tom's mead. I've been lucky enough to hang out with them at a number of different events. But I want to go try the stuff he's doing commercially, and we want to go to the house and let Tom cook. He does such good food.
Yeah, he's always got the videos of the sauce simmering or whatever.
Oh my God, yeah. And he's in this food group that I'm in too. And people are always posting that today I made sautéed lamb chops with something reduction. La, 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 la. And Tom doesn't use recipes; he just makes stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I do that for some things, but for more complicated stuff, like if I'm doing I don't know, a Chateaubriand, or making some complex Mexican thing or something, I follow a recipe, to get a good handle on the thing. I don't just wing it because I don't know,
I think it's really helpful to know your way around a kitchen. I was a professional. Mm-hmm. I was a cook for probably, 15 or 20 years before I committed to this. And it's really helpful to know how flavors work together, like especially in meat, to balance sweetness and acidity. And that is something you just really need experience working with flavors to get your head around some of these things. Because a lot of times I'll offer a taste even to my mom and say, what do you think this is missing, or what can make this better possibly? And she's stumped. And then I'm like, wait, let me add oak. And I do have some tinctures of oak, so I could just add a couple of drops to a glass to find out if that
so
is going to improve it.
Bench testing, yeah.
And she'll just be like, wow, that was exactly it. I couldn't have told you that. But it's just, these things have to come naturally, I think, and that only happens if you have a lot of practice.
Yeah, I think so too. It's just something. I mean, because there's a bunch of stuff that I do, and there's nothing written down. I just do it because I know it. I know that this and this work together. So yeah, there are other things. Especially when I get into ethnic foods, where I will follow something a little bit more structured so that I can get it right. Like, mole or something like that. It's just, I made birria tacos a couple of weeks ago, and it's like, okay, well, first of all, you got to know what a birria is. Yeah. So So it's I've been on a Mexican kick ever since I went to Mexico City last year, and we lived on street food for a week. It was great.
Oh man, that sounds awesome.
It was so amazing. I mean, my God, it was good. It was just so good. You can go pay like $4 US and get more tacos than you could possibly stuff down your gullet. I mean, enough food for two people. You know, it was nuts. I loved it. The food was fantastic, and Raul was great. He took us to some really interesting spots and trying different styles of food. So that was great. It really opened my eyes to some things I didn't really know anything about at the time. So I came back home and started doing some homework, and now I bought jars of mole while I was down there. We went to a market, and I'm learning to make my own sauces and stuff. I made chimichangas the other day, and I made up the sauce. I made up all the fillings. I made up everything all from scratch, and I made enough so that I was able to like freeze a whole bunch of them. So I've got like 5 chimichanga meals all in the freezer now. So it's kind of cool.
Cool.
But that's pretty neat. Okay, so all right, this one's a long one, so pay attention. There'll be a quiz. Your starting focus in 2022 being making sparkling meads that were between 5 to 8%. Seeing at one time the PB and J mead had 2 versions that sampled out as one at 11 and the other just under 7.5. So, what stylistic changes do you feel each presented for the consumer outside ADV in overall character versus the session line that you have no doubt dialed in now at 7.5?
Damn, that's another good question.
Right?
Yeah, I had an 11% version, and I actually thought that was better because the viscosity was a little bit thinner, and it was able to make a sweeter mead without it being super thick.
Yeah, that makes sense.
The mouthfeel from alcohol can really complement the flavor, especially if you're shooting for something that's going to be on the sweet side. But people, I just feel like I could sell more of the lower alcohol stuff, partly because we're at 10,000 feet. If somebody drinks a pint or even just like a 6-ounce pour of the full strength one, I don't actually sell pints of full strength, but
yeah.
I don't want to be responsible for this person falling on their face on the way out or whatever.
Falling off the mountain on the way out the door, yeah.
That's one of the biggest reasons that I opted to go with most of my meads being session strength or under 7%, 8%. But
yeah, I wonder how many people consider the fact that at altitude, alcohol affects you differently.
Yeah, I definitely supply a big jug of water. Make sure people are hydrated, because I also have a couple of years ago I worked at an oxygen supply company, and they offered oxygen recreationally. So if people were just having,
I've heard of that. Yeah, like oxygen bars.
Yeah, exactly. So I actually have oxygen on hand anyway. So if somebody's having a hard time, I have the experience to know what acute hypoxia is, acute mountain sickness. And so I can be like, you need some help. Let me give you some oxygen for 5 minutes. And usually they're like, I feel way better. We're just passing through on the way back down to lower elevation. So
yeah.
And actually just 5 minutes of oxygen can help you feel better for like up to an hour.
Okay.
Even
I remember.
Like, now you can drink some more mead. Just kidding.
Yeah. Yeah, there you go. All right, 5/8 oxygen. I'll take another pour, thank you.
Yeah, there's a lot of challenges being at high altitude and in a tourist town that's only really busy for half of the year.
Yeah. I don't know, whenever I would go to Denver when we still had the Mazer out there, I mean, Denver's as high up as I've gotten. I don't know if Boulder's at, I mean, that's all pretty much at the same, yeah, a little bit, but not a lot. But yeah, just going to Denver and Boulder, and Longmont and that kind of thing. And it was just like, God help me if I went up a set of stairs about pass out. You know, I don't have a problem down here at 200 foot above sea level.
It takes some time. There's an Olympic training center in Colorado Springs where they come from all over to train at altitude. But we're almost twice as high as, I mean, this is 2 miles high.
Yeah. Yeah, it is, isn't it? Shoot.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've never been that high up in altitude. I'll bet there's a lot of summiters that get up there to do the acclimation thing before they go to places like base camp at Everest or one of the other 7 peaks, you know?
Yeah, definitely. If they have enough money, they can hang out here for a week and then fly straight to Nepal or whatever.
Yeah, I'm just saying, too, the people that are summiting Everest, they have enough money. It's not cheap to do that. That's really, I don't think that's a factor when it comes to, I'm going to go climb Everest, you know?
Yeah. It's life-threatening, so I might as well forget money.
Yeah, right? You know, I mean, and it costs a boatload of money. You know, I mean, you can't be poor and go climb the summits, you know? I mean, you can't.
Saw a picture of a Sherpa, like basically at the top, and he's got a cigarette in his mouth.
Oh my God, really? Yeah, but he's a Sherpa, though. He's used to it.
Yeah. So I've tried to, there's people acclimating that are hanging out here with nothing to do, and sometimes I catch some.
Okay.
Yeah, they're just sitting around.
Yeah, you could do like an oxygen and mead pairing and say, okay, so I know that this is new to you as far as the altitude and everything. So here, do this 5 minutes of oxygen and then get you a flight.
Yeah, that's brilliant.
Well, I mean, they got nothing else better to do. They might as well, right?
Yeah, and there's tons of cyclists, whether they're on a road or mountain bikers. We actually have 2 different 100-mile races here. One is a foot race, and the other is a mountain bike race. So they both traverse like considerable elevation gain and loss. So I think the record of the one on foot was 14 and a half hours or something. But that's crazy. In 100 miles, and that's 14 and a half miles an hour average. Maybe that was a bike. I don't know. But
yeah,
there's some really crazy athletes up here that are relentless. And I made a beer at Periodic that was designed for those runners. It was it had like all these electrolytes in it, cucumber and lime, and it was like a salted sour.
Interesting.
So it had the salt to replenish them and like electrolytes from cucumber and lime. It was a silly gimmick, but people liked it.
Hey, why not? You say it's just like the, oxygen in a flight kind of thing. It's
right.
It's what it is,
Yeah. So one thing I haven't really talked about is hops. Being that I came from a beer brewing background, I'm a fan of IPAs and make sure that I made them right. So I learned a lot about dry hopping specifically. And there's a man, Scott Yanish, who literally wrote the book on hops. Most recently, anyway, the most respected hop book that I know of. And he has been employing these really unique and newer methods for getting the most out of your dry hops. And he found that the most efficient way to get the most aroma out of your dry hopping is a short, cold dry hop, like 24 to 48 hours at refrigerator temperature. And the more agitated you can make it in that time, the better.
Uh-huh.
So I guess every hour, if you could remember, go and shake your carboy up in the fridge or whatever. And that method actually gave me better dry hopping aroma than anything else I've done. And it seems counterintuitive because it's only in for such a short time. But it only takes that long for it to saturate the hop pellets and give up those goods. I was surprised too. I was like, am I wasting my hops? And then when I finally tasted the finished product, I was like, this is more hop aroma than I normally get. So
interesting.
It is interesting. And he has a whole big blog, and he kind of upset the IPA brewing community when he did this, and he dropped this bomb. Like, everyone had been dry hopping for 5 days and regular room temp, and he was like, no, that's not, you're wasting your hops. And he was like, I'm going to use a quarter as much dry hops as you and get a better aroma. And he could he could prove that. So it's worth a try.
That off a few people. Yeah, it's worth a try. I mean, shoot, if he's doing it well, and like you say, he's kind of the hops guy. So
yeah, he has written books and blogs and all kinds of research that is very in-depth scientifically, and it has wonderful results. And so I have what I call an IPA style mead, where I'm using hops in primary and then cold crashing before I add my dry hops. And there's not any way to real agitate your dry hops in a huge tank that you can't just shake. Sometimes I'll hang it from the inside so it doesn't clog up the works, and then recirculate. But a lot of times people come in, they're like, I don't want mead or wine or anything like that. I'm a beer guy. And I'm like, okay, well, what do you drink normally? Do you like IPA? And they say, meh, it's all right. And they're like, well, here's the closest thing I got to beer. And they're like, wow, this is good. So even the not IPA beer drinkers like it.
Okay.
And that's just another
I'm one of those because I don't like IPAs.
Yeah, it's just another way of trying to broaden the horizons and please every kind of consumer.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you absolutely want to have something that they like.
That one is one that I don't back sweeten at all. So it finishes at sometimes 0.092. And
dang.
Or 0.992, sorry. And I'm like, well, then I'll dry hop it, and it brings back some like real interesting flavors from the dry hop that fill in the spots that normally would be filled in by back sweetening. So it has like, I guess it may be the thiols that I was talking about that gives you the indication. It's like an indication of sweetness because it has these tropical fruit flavors. And,
it's that perception.
And people love that mead as completely bone dry as you can get. It's pretty interesting. Like, I didn't expect it, but I tried back sweetening it and it just didn't do it. It was like, this is better, totally dry.
Interesting. So now you've learned something about that, you know?
Yeah. And that's why I started so slow, trying to experiment and get it right before I really step into the scene.
Yeah, that's always a good plan. So, okay, more Nathan questions. Besides using mango fruit on mango blossom honey and with your no shade lemonade mead using lemons on lemon blossom honey, what other fruit on fruit blossom varietal honey pairings are you thinking about for future?
Well, that's a good one. So Sean always has those really cool specific fruit varietal honeys. I don't know if he still has any of that guava honey, but guava on guava could be pretty awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, like I sometimes use orange blossom honey to make a meadmosa or
That'd be
a
nice.
dreamsicle. I actually have a dreamsicle
yeah.
mead that has a ton of lactose. Well, not a ton of lactose, a ton of Madagascar vanilla as well as lactose.
Mm-hmm.
And that one's really, I kind of want to put that through the slushy machine too.
Oh, yeah, that would absolutely be a slushy machine candidate for sure.
Yeah, so I've used some citrus blossom honey in that. But yeah, I wish that I could get my hands on some actual flowers from some of these wildflower varietals. I've always wanted to make a wildflower honey with the blossoms of that nectar or whatever.
Yeah. And it makes sense. The problem is that in order to get the blossoms, then they don't fruit if you take the blossoms. So
that's true.
Yeah.
Pipe dreams.
Yeah. What you need is somebody who's got mango trees that doesn't care if they get the fruit.
True.
I had a friend that was like, he's like, you want mangoes? Fine, I'll give them to you. I don't like the goddamn things, So he was just not into it, but he would bring me back bags of mangoes when he went down to his place in Florida.
Nice.
Yeah, so it was that kind of thing. But yeah, I mean, if you're somebody that's growing mangoes commercially, then yeah, they're gonna be like, yeah, no, touch my blossoms at your, you'll be in danger.
So, is there maybe one more we can squeeze in for this? We call it?
Yeah. We've got two, and the last one is more a personal thing, so we'll leave that one out for now. Says, how do you work with roasted cacao nibs in your mead making from an integration of process standpoint?
That's another good question. So I try to roast them just like on a sheet pan. Obviously, that gets to become an issue when you have to do it to 25 or more pounds.
So yeah, you need really big sheet pans or something.
Yeah, I don't have a walk-in oven. There is other options. So I will continue to roast my own raw cacao nibs and add that, but I'm also going to employ something called cholaka. I don't know if you've heard of this, but it's a product made for brewers from Central America that is a liquid cacao extract.
Ooh, really? I am not familiar with that. That's interesting.
Yeah, I don't think very many people in the mead world know about this. But
yeah. Otherwise, everybody would be talking about it because chocolate's huge, and everybody loves chocolate.
All right, check it out, Cholaka, CHOLACA. Yeah, they're great, really great company with good morals and ethics and all that. But they make this liquid cacao extract that's phenomenal. And I used to use it in a chocolate porter that just was one of my favorite beers. So I was like, we're going to find out what this does in mead. And actually this week, I already fermented it and I'm getting ready. Well, I stabilized today. So tomorrow I will be adding liquid cacao to make a s'mores style mead.
Ooh, nice.
Because I'm up here in the mountains where people like to come to go camping, I think it's going to fit right in. Plus I have the fire pit out there.
Nice.
And that's going to be a good one. Colorado honey on that one too.
That's cool. That is a really good thing. Okay, and the last one, and then we'll let you scoot. Being as you are a proverbial beer lover at heart, is the Sour Raz Choco Braggot a possibility in your meadery lineup, or perhaps another evolutionary take on braggots?
That I wish that I could make that on a big scale, but because it was an amalgamation kind of a random raspberry chocolate and a barrel aged sour that I happen to have. I'm never going to be able to repeat it exactly. And obviously, I can't make braggot. I can't even have grain anywhere in my premises. So if I do, which I probably will try to eventually, it'll have to be a homemade barrel-aged beer and then a mead that I take from Cloud City and blend into it, and then I'll take it to a beer fest to be given away because I can't sell it, unfortunately.
Could you like do a contract with a brewery? Could they do it?
Yeah, that is possible.
Yeah, I mean, you have relationships with local breweries, right?
I sure do.
Yeah, so you could just subcontract it out basically, and because they can have grain on their premises, and they could probably, I'm assuming they can make a braggot, and if that's the case, then there you go. You know, then it's all nice and legal and everything.
Yeah, I think that's a brilliant idea, and that's the only way to make braggot commercially. So
pretty much, yeah. It depends on the state you're in. In California, Mike Fall, he was making braggots left, right, and backwards, and no problems. But California's got different laws. So here in Michigan, they don't care. It's like paint a line on the floor and have the beer stuff on one side of the line and the mead stuff on the other side of the line, and you're golden. Other states, you have to have a wall with a locked door between the areas, or in a separate building altogether, or whatever. It depends on the state. I'm surprised Colorado hasn't got more wide open laws, given the fact that alcohol is pretty prevalent there.
Yeah, you'd think we'd respect the stuff a little more with our laws.
You think so? Yeah. Too busy focusing on pot, I guess. So.
Another industry that kind of blew up and flopped.
Yeah, I know. When we used to do Mazer, I'd be like hitting the dispensaries to get gummies and stuff. So I have to do that now. I live in Michigan, and it's even worse here. I mean, it's everywhere. I live near a town of like 6,000 people, and there's like 5 dispensaries, all within like a half mile of each other.
Jeez.
Yeah, it's like ridiculous. I mean, we don't have that. I mean, there's only like 6 churches, and there's like 5 dispensaries. It's like, what, really? Go figure. So yeah, it's weird. I thought it was cool until I had to live in the state and realize that everything smells like weed now, and it's like, really?
This was great. I appreciate the opportunity to be here. I've been a long time.
Oh, thank you for stepping up when I was in dire need, and I'm really glad to have gotten you on. You were on my list of people to get on the show. I just hadn't gotten to you on the list yet.
Great. Well, yeah, I'm increasing production all the time, and if you ever, or if anyone ever makes it to the high country, look for Cloud City.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, if I get out that way again, I haven't driven out that way in quite a while, but if I get out that way again, or we decide to do the cross-country trek to see the daughter on the West Coast, we'll have to go through there.
And I'll make more announcements and stuff as I get my distribution a little bit further, and eventually Vino Shipper.
Cool. Yeah,
Great.
Cool. I'd like to see that because I can't get your stuff right now. So.
You know me. You can get it.
Yeah.
I don't want to make it a big thing where I have to ship stuff every other day or whatever.
Yeah, no, I hear you there. Yeah, and considering that you don't have minions to help you with that, then yeah, that's a thing. So.
Exactly.
Yeah, but. All right. Well, thank you so much for coming on. This has been very interesting, and I know I put the link up for the liquid cacao on all this on the chat, so I know there's people like mobbing their website right now.
That's awesome. They really deserve it. They're a great company.
Cool. Yeah, I may have to get some of that because I want to. I would just say I love cacao stuff, but I didn't really want to fiddle with nibs. So
I just remembered it may only be available commercially. But,
oh well, that's okay. We have ways.
Yeah.
Group buy. Get your local place to buy it and buy in or whatever.
Exactly.
Yeah. Entrepreneurship. That's the way it goes. But All right, cool. Well, I'm looking forward to trying your stuff at some point, hopefully soon. And once I have a mead budget again, it's been getting eaten up by home improvement stuff.
Yeah, if I had been able to plan this a little longer, I would have sent you something, but maybe next time.
Oh, I know. Yeah, I know. But you were kind enough to jump in when I said crap.
Well, I'm glad I was here to catch the ball.
The what?
I was glad I was here to catch the ball.
Yeah, I'm glad you were too. I really appreciate it.
Cool. Well, have a wonderful evening.
You too.
Yeah, you too. Take
Thank
care.
you so much. Yeah, have a good one.
Cheers, guys. Bye.
All right, night. Okay, as you heard, Adrian was kind enough to step up and fill a blank that I hadn't filled yet today because I have been so busy I haven't had time to schedule. So upcoming guests, I don't know. We're going to have that soon. I'm going to put some work in the next couple of days and see if I can't book out a couple months and get caught up again. But in the meantime, though, there's a number of events coming up. We've got June 18th, Kingview Mead, Mount Lebanon, Virginia, has their trivia night. June 21st, Crafted Artisan Meadery in Mogadore, Ohio, has mead and meditation. June 21st, Grimsby Hollow Meadery in Middleville, Michigan, has Drink Mead, Learn Things, Spirit Fairy Jar Workshop. June 21st, Doggone Bees Meadery and Apiary in Hanover, PA, has mead making class. June 21st, Ravenwood Meadery in Huntsville, Alabama, has a meadery tour and tasting flight. June 21st, Four Brothers Mead in Festus, Missouri, has Blight of Many with live music. June 26th, Adesanya Meadery in Granville, Michigan, has a Disney trivia night. June 29th, Ironstone Meadery in Erie, PA, has mead and draft gaming night. And apparently draft is a game that's like a matchup between Magic Gathering and something else. The gaming people get it, I'm sure. July 2nd, Kingview Meadery in Mount Lebanon, Pennsylvania, has their trivia night. July 6th, Brittinghorn Meadery in Milton, Delaware, has mead, music, and merchants. So it'll be bands and vendors and mead and all kinds of goodies. July 9th, Tree Trust in Center Wellington, Ontario, Canada, has mead and meander forest walk. So get your mead, go for a forest hike. I was like, I like that. That sounds really cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that's in, I don't know how far Center Wellington is from you. Ontario's a big province, so. Huh?
That's like that's Southern Ontario.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I say Ontario's a big province, so I know it could be quite a ways. So, but yeah, support your local meadery, and even if you don't have a local meadery, you can find mead online at shopmeads.com, which has meads from all over the United States, and there's some very, very good ones there. You should definitely check it out. So in the meantime, get out there, do what you got to do, and be excellent to one another, and we'll see you in a couple weeks. Night all.